Tonight's coverage of NASCAR 08 on the channel, the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway, the only Cup Series race we'll be racing this week on NASCAR 08. As we still have to play a little bit of catch-up in the truck and the Busch Series side of things, I'm starting to jump a little further ahead in the Cup Series than I am the other couple of series. So, going to be running this one here today. It is a Crown Jewel event. Of course, Southern 500 at Darlington, although the title sponsor for this race in 2007 was the Dodge Avenger 500, but it was the Southern 500. Of course, it was the only 500-mile race at Darlington, and in fact, the only race at Darlington we're going to be having this season. It is under the lights as well, so that'll be pretty cool. And it is with the car up tomorrow. Not going to take any practice, not going to take any qualifying. That might be a mistake, but didn't give myself enough time before the start of the stream to do that. And so we're just jumping right into this thing. It's a long race, so let's just get this underway. Enough blabbing on my behalf. And thank you for tuning into the stream, everybody. Jackson Robinson, Wayne, Michael Turner, The Republic. You guys are the first in the chat below. Green flags in the air. Jimmy Johnson on the pole for the third consecutive race on our Cup Series season. I don't know how hard I want to push in these early laps, not knowing what the dribble up is going to be like. Maybe to down on the apron, 3 wide to the bottom on the first turn. Already a little bit of a stack up, just got to the inside in time to miss hitting the back of the fourth of Stremi, and then we were the ones that got hit from back there. I was scared to run into the back of somebody, and I was the one getting hit. I really guessed on the setup. I'm scared I'm going to be a little too loose. That's to the back bumper of the car after getting hit from Tony Ramos. Might make it worse. Oh yeah, hang on. Thank you for that. Adjust the volume. There we go. We're good now. I hate that I paused it in the middle of the corner. That's not ideal. I should have waited till the straightaway. We're good. We made it through there. No contact. Everything's okay. Oh boy, big checkup. What happened there? Good thing I was underneath everybody. Evasive maneuver to get down to the apron. Past 3 cars in one turn through 3 and 4. On the second lap of the race and already up 7 positions to 36th. I don't think I'm going to get through the field anywhere near as quick as I did at Richmond from the back. We had a rocket ship in that race as we come into this one off a win. We have not won back-to-back races all season, so trying to do that for the first time here tonight at Darlington in race number 12, I believe, on the season. Actually, no, race number 11 on the season here this evening. Clay Hampton, thanks for tuning in. When was this race? Where was it at? 2007 Darlington Raceway. Yeah, this NASCAR 08, so this game would have been out in the 2007 NASCAR season. Oh boy. Hang on to it. Contact with Clint Boyer's left rear. I made it. Got to be careful. We're only on lap 4. Don't want to wreck it already. New uniforms tomorrow for the wings. Zero idea what that would look like. I'll have to look into that later tonight. Would have been a night race, but ended up running on Mother's Day, postponed in the afternoon. Yeah. But the game made it a night race anyway. Quick lap that last time by. My goodness, 29.628. I'm still in traffic, so we could definitely build off of that. Give me some clean air later in the race with the fresh tires. We'll have a pretty good car. A little slippery for me getting into turn 1. I don't like that this car's already getting a little loose on me. It's only lap 7. I don't think all of it's the setup, though. We only had one bit of contact in these first 8 laps, and that was Tony Raines getting into my back bumper on the second lap of the race. And it doesn't really look as if there's much damage back there, but it did a little bit of damage to where it definitely has made the back of the car want to slide out from underneath me just a bit. I just don't like that it's lap 8 and it's already doing that, because we're probably going to end up going about 60 laps a run if I had to guess, at least. If not more laps than that on fuel. If we have to pit early for tires, we're going to have to pit early. I don't want to have to do that because we only have 5 sets. In these 500-mile races, we kind of have to stretch it out as far as we can usually. So that might lead into some 2-tire strategies a little bit later on. John Fleming, welcome to the stream. Contact with Scott Riggs. That's a teammate. It's my Darrell Waltrip impersonation there. What race was that where he said that? Golly, I'm trying to think back. I can remember that line. He probably said that several races, to be completely honest. Oh, it was the Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch finish at, or was it Kyle Busch? I think it was Edwards and Busch at Richmond the one year. When Edwards was in a Gibbs car and he pulled the bump and run on the last lap, last corner to win the race. I'm pretty sure it was on Kyle Busch. Darrell Waltrip's like, oh, that's a teammate. And moved him out of the way to win it. I remembered the line before I remembered the race. Yeah. Opening day in less than 3 weeks. Crazy. Yeah, March Madness is going to be starting up like very, very soon too. Lap 7 probably means we're going to commercial soon. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah, this would have been a Fox race too, so that makes sense. Nothing that says NASCAR and Fox like a commercial every 5 laps. You know, interval-wise, we're only a little over a second and a half off the lead. Everybody's bunched together still. Jimmy Johnson's led every lap so far, but Casey Kane really moving through this field. One car down towards the apron trying to get a run on us, I do believe. Unless somebody blew an engine on the... I don't know what happened there. I swear I saw somebody go to the apron on the front straightaway out of the rearview mirror, and I thought I was going to have to make a late block into the corner, but nobody was down there. Still in 15th. Getting by Bobby Labonte. Little slide job. I mean, it might have been on FS1. What I meant was the Fox family of net. Well, no, actually, this wouldn't have been FS1 because it wasn't around yet. Yeah, if it wasn't on Big Fox, it would have been on FX at this time. Yeah, somebody did blow a motor. Okay, I was right on that. It looked like it was Dale Jr. because I thought it was a red car. It's hard to tell from that far away. The shadow, darker asphalt on pit road than what we have here on the Racing Groove. Darlington's always been just such a lack of grip racetrack. And Pablo Montoya. So he must have been in the big red paint scheme then. Because it was definitely a red car. 3 wide, here we go. Yeah, I back out of that. That wasn't going to end well. Not at Darlington. Kyle Busch is deep in the point standings. He's going to want to make a run at the chase. He's definitely going to have to start picking things up ASAP. Made a pass on him for 11th off of turn 4. Jeff Green in 10th right in front of us. And I see Dale Jr. up there. It looks like he's in 6th. One of the Wood Brothers 21 cars are leading. There are two of them in this game simultaneously, John Wood and Kenny Schrader. Schrader's actually in the top 12 in points right now. If we were to start the chase today, he would be in it. And so would Montoya. Montoya actually came into this race third in points. So that's going to be a big hit for him, dropping out of the race and probably going to finish last if he can't get that car back out on the racetrack and maybe pass a couple other drivers in the finishing order if anybody else has problems. Very early in this race to see that first DNF, too. First less than 20 laps. Oh, boy, that was the biggest wiggle I've had yet. Holding on in front of Waltrip for 10th still. Yeah, Briscoe's last in points. He's still in the negative, too, I think. I don't even think he's up to positive points yet. I'm not sure how many points he scored at Atlanta. He might be in the positive. I don't think he is, but if he is, it's barely. I definitely know Jimmy Johnson's ahead of him in points. Running one race. Briscoe's ran all three. Minus 20. Oh my gosh, he might not even get out of that this week. Yeah, that's tough. He might be in the negative 4 races into the season. I mean, I will say, though, the Toyotas in recent years have been really good on the mile-and-a-half track, so he might get back into the positive this weekend. But it's not a guarantee. I mean, 28 points, that's almost half a race worth of points. Johnson got shuffled out of the lead. He fell all the way back to 5th. Gonna split the Hendrick cars up with Johnson and Gordon here, making the pass on Gordon for 6th through 1 and 2. Casey Kane appears to have the fastest car here. It does seem like we have had top 5 cars every time we've raced a car tomorrow race. We've either won or finished second in all the car of tomorrow races up to this point. I haven't really factored that in until just now I thought about it. Wow, both 21 cars are up here. John Wood in third, Kenny Schrader in the lead. Well, Casey Kane's coming back. To answer your question, Clay. Yeah, he's been racing in the World of Outlaws sprint cars part-time for a while. I think he was supposed to run full-time when he first retired from NASCAR, but then he got in a pretty bad accident, and he missed most of that season with a concussion. But I think he is back behind the wheel of a car now. So I'm pretty sure when I went to the Kings Royal a couple years ago, he was in that event. I don't think he made the feature, but I'm pretty sure he was racing that night. Pass on Truex for second. Yeah, Rockingham for the Xfinity Series will be back. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Bubba had a lane choice violation yesterday. I don't know where he ended up finishing. At least he was able to win a stage, so he got, decent points out of the day, even with a not-so-good finish. Same for Ryan Preece in the 60. To the lead off turn 4. First lead for Casey Kane today. 24 complete laps to go from last to first. I'd say we've got a pretty good race car. As usual for these Car of Tomorrow races on NASCAR 08 so far, we've been quick. We would have won Martinsville had we not had a green-white checker with 2 laps to go, and Bobby Labonte just sent me into the first turn. Fell to third, got back to second on the last lap, getting by Jimmy Johnson, but I couldn't get by Labonte. John Wood cycles into second behind us. Truex still in third. Kenny Schrader, after losing the lead, will fall to fourth. Body temperature issue. Yeah, dehydration was the big thing for Casey Kane. That's why he couldn't compete anymore in NASCAR. Yeah, because he abruptly stopped in 2018. right in the middle of the season. He missed the last almost dozen races. Speaking of NFL, who was talking about NFL? Oh, Gronk. I didn't see that comment before that. Yeah, actually, when I saw that headline of Jimmy Johnson announcing retirement, I thought it was NASCAR Jimmy Johnson at first, even though they have a different spelling. I just saw the ESPN headline. I'm like, oh. Because initially I was thinking that because he's supposed to run the Coca-Cola 600, I thought he was announcing that as his last start or something. I was like, oh, it's the wrong Jimmy Johnson. Of course, you know, kind of could have figured that, knowing it was ESPN that was sending out the notification to my phone. They don't cover NASCAR nowadays. But it is also weird that they covered something like that when it wasn't an ESPN anchor or something like that. Yeah, Casey was on the Dale Jr. download recently. Yes, he was. Fresh in the news. One thing I've noticed when we've been doing these classic game playthroughs, and you guys pick me to drive as a particular driver, something usually happens with them somewhere, you know, social media wise. Maybe they're on the Dale Jr. download, they make a comeback into NASCAR. Like, that's happened so many times. We picked Casey Kane. Well, you guys, I didn't pick. But you guys voted for me to race as Casey Kane for this season. And I kid you not, that next week after we started this season was when he announced that he was going to be running at Rockingham this year. I'm like, what the heck? And then I can remember the first time we raced as Greg Biffle on the channel in the NASCAR Thunder 2004 season. A couple months later, he announced he was going to run the Daytona 500 in 2022. So I was like, all right, there's that. Oh, man, what other one was there? Maybe it was Jimmy Johnson. And he scheduled however many races he ran last year, because he actually ran quite a few. He put that announcement out like shortly after we started that season on NASCAR 06 when we raced as Jimmy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This stuff keeps happening. Greg Biffle on NASCAR 07, and he's saving people in North Carolina with the hurricane going through. Just constantly in the news. Martin Truex Jr. on the Busch Series season 2 on this game. We started that, and then he announced he was going to... Who he was racing with, I should say specifically. We knew he was going to run the Daytona 500, but we didn't know who with. And then that was announced like days after we started our Busch Series season. Yeah, that was another one. Another one on this game, too. At least it's all positive stuff, and it's not like it's anything negative. At least not yet. That'd be, I don't want to see that happen. Share a birthday with him. Talk about Casey Kane? Which driver? Which are the ones that I just mentioned? I know Kane and Biffle's birthdays are pretty close together. I think they're both in December. I know I mentioned on the channel before, I used to have this calendar, the NASCAR calendar, but it would have all the active drivers' birth dates. Me being a Biffle fan, I always remember that it was just before Christmas in December, and Casey Kane was like a couple days apart from him. And remember Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch sharing the same birthday. just like odd NASCAR facts that I probably shouldn't know, but I do. Just because of that. It was such a little part of my childhood, too. It was 1 year, and I can't even remember what year it was that I had that calendar. But I can remember I had their birthdays on it. Casey's in April. Oh, shoot. I got that wrong then. Who's, somebody's as close to Biffle. Sorry, I had that wrong. I was thinking it was Casey Kane. Well, now I need to figure out whose birthday was close to Biffle, because I thought it was Casey Kane off of my memory. Again, this is when I was a kid, so you're going to have to bear with me here. I mean, it had to have been like man, I'm trying to think back to when I was still living in that house, because it was not the house we moved in when I was in 6th grade, so it was before that. It was a long time ago. It was over half my life ago. Well over half my life. Still no cautions up to this point in the race. Long ways to go. We're past halfway through the fuel run. Tires still holding up relatively well, all things considered. Fastest lap, 29.186. David Reagan, thank you for that. Yeah, would have had to have been another active driver around that time. So that would make sense. And after Reagan, oh no, I see what you. I didn't even notice that you said Jesus in there. I meant active NASCAR driver. The term Jesus take the wheel isn't from him driving in the sport of NASCAR, I don't think. I didn't know there was a correlation there. That's funny. You're not wrong, though. Just hit our, got our first Darlington stripe. Off turn 4, a little wiggle, getting off the corner. Lap 42, coming to 43. I forget how big the grandstands were on the back straightaway at Darlington. They still had the back straightaway grandstands there when I was there in 2020. And because that was a COVID crowd, they only had like, man, I can't even remember the amount of people there. It was like 8,000, maybe less than that. Whatever the number was that they capped it off on, they spaced everybody out. They did have people on the back straightaway grandstands to help space people out. But there weren't many back there. It looked like there was like maybe a couple hundred people back on the back straight. It was very sparse, even compared to the front stretch. Yeah, I definitely got to get back to Darlington. That was the only race I'd seen there. It was a good race, though. Saw another Kevin Harvick win that day. I've seen a lot of Harvick wins. He's retired now, so, I mean, you kind of miss it a little bit, but he was one of those drivers that I saw win more times than probably any other driver, especially at Michigan. That guy was winning every year we went up there. Even when he went a long time without winning there, he ended up getting one of his last wins at Michigan in 2022 also. Went to Darlington back in 2011. Oh, wow, that was the Regan Smith win. That's a rare one. That's pretty cool. Sorry for getting on your nuts. I think it's okay. If we can't respect people for, you know, what they believe in or whatever on this channel, you don't need to watch. You were keeping it civil. It was a good joke. Ruben Tapa, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Dodge is in this game. As you can see. On the back of our car, it says Dodge. So, that answers the question. I know the manufacturers weren't on the car of tomorrow, I think. Was it this game or was it NASCAR 09? I don't pay close enough attention. I just hop in the races and go. It's so weird to me, though, that you would have Dodge race cars by sponsorship, but they couldn't put the actual like manufacturer logo on the front of the car. That's hard to believe. That was like 2.5 years ago now, Wade. Honestly, I thought the car was going to be a lot more ill-handling, especially this late into the fuel run. We're going to be able to go a little bit past 60 laps. Pretty close to about 62, 63. I don't know if I want to push it any further than that. Definitely going to want to try to go as far as we can. Extending this lead. Again, every car of tomorrow race, we have had arguably the fastest race car. If not hands down the fastest, and here we are again. But this track is still pretty tricky. Like, I'm slipping and sliding around here at times. Since we've got the clean air, the handling's been a lot better. And lap traffic, it usually takes a while to get into lap traffic on this game. I'm sure the green flag pit stops are probably going to space out the field quite a bit, I would imagine. But I'll take a 2.6 second lead. That's a big lead in this game. Just gradually a 10th or 2 quicker lap. Nothing big. Just doing a good job backing up the entry on the corners. Whoa, squirrely off of turn 2, trying to mash the throttle. Oh, I had no idea. Catherine Legg's racing this weekend. Pretty cool. I know she ran the ARCA race at Daytona. Joshua, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I don't listen to country, so I'm going to be honest. I don't know who Charlie Daniels is. Yeah, I don't know. That's something my parents would probably know. I personally don't care for country. If it's classic enough, maybe I've heard a song. Really? Yeah, for real. I don't know what to say there to try to cover that up. I just don't listen to country. A lot of people do mistake me for listening to country a lot. I wear a lot of flannels while I'm at work. So I think it's that, having the beard, and then watching NASCAR, and people just automatically assume that I listen to country music. I'm like, no, I listen to mostly metal, rock, older rock. Well, I wouldn't even say older. Mostly metal, but I'll venture off and just listen to some, depending on the day, go back and listen to some older tunes I grew up with. Gives me that nostalgia kick. I don't listen to pop, but I know who Michael Jackson is. I don't even know, is that like the same level? See, the thing with Michael Jackson, though, like, I know several songs from him. that I would be able to give you the names of. Wear black like I'm going to rob a bank. I do wear black a lot. A lot of black, a lot of flannel. Sometimes black flannels, sometimes black underneath the flannel. Whatever color flannel it is, it's my style, you know. Kick out the sports jerseys over, you know, every so often. Kind of like a once a week, once every other week kind of thing. Just especially when it's football season, because I'm going to be wearing my Packers jersey every Sunday. When it's not NASCAR season, of course. Well, I know who Johnny Cash is. That's one I do know. Yeah, I don't know who. What'd you say that other guy's name was again? Did you say Christopher Daniels? No, that's a wrestler. Hang on. Well, what'd you say that was? I gotta go back and look at that. Charlie Davis. Oh, man, I'm butchering this bad. Charlie Daniels. You can tell I've never heard of him because I couldn't even remember what his name was a couple minutes ago. It's getting it close. I was getting it close. Charlie Daniels. I said Christopher Daniels, and I'm like, no, that's a pro. Track myself up sometimes. Hear about Dodge coming back. I did. They're supposed to be in the Truck Series next. Was that? Yeah, that was officially announced, I think, that they're going to be in the Truck Series next year. I don't think it's been officially announced that they're going to be back to Cup, but it's been very heavily rumored by very, very reliable sources. And that probably wouldn't be until the following year. But they are going to be back in trucks for sure next year, so that's definitely a step towards them, I would assume, getting back into Cup. And I believe, I know that's what Toyota did. When Dodge came back to the Cup Series in 2001, I was really young at this time, so I wouldn't have known off the top of my head. But did they jump into the Truck Series in 2000 or 99 before that? The Truck Series wasn't anywhere near as big at that time, though, either, so they might not have. I mean, you got to figure at that time the Truck Series was only 4 or 5 years old, 99, 2000. I didn't really start watching the Truck and Xfinity Series religiously until, honestly, about the time I started the YouTube channel. It was kind of one of those deals where if I caught it, I caught it. If I didn't, I didn't. Especially once I got into high school and I had a job, because I was working a lot on the weekends. Usually I would have like a morning shift when I worked at McDonald's in high school, so I would get off early. But the Xfinity races would always start at like 1 o'clock or something, and then I was still racing at that time, so I basically go straight to the track. So I didn't really watch a lot of Xfinity races. I would miss a lot of Saturday night Cup races growing up, just because I was racing on Saturday nights a lot. There was quite a few summer Daytona events I'd miss, and then when they would go to like Chicagoland or Kentucky, I'd usually miss those. We'd have the radio on in the pits, so I would kind of listen here and there, but if we were working on something with the cart, you know, I would obviously miss on a lot of that. So that is part of the reason why, like, although my NASCAR memory is good, there are specific races, especially night races on Saturdays, that I just didn't watch growing up because I was gone. I wasn't even in the house. You know, I was doing my own racing deal. Or I get two, yeah, I was about to say, I was going to come to pit road right there. We're not really going to lose that much time, because I'm going to have to brake to try to slow the car down to keep it on the bottom of the track and make it in the pits. We'll lose a little bit of time running out of gas, but it's not even going to be a couple seconds, I don't think. Should still come out with the lead. Actually timed almost perfect. I did want to pit the lap before that, but I missed it. We're good, though. I don't think it's a guarantee that Cena's winning the title. I don't really know who's winning it between him and Cody. I could see Cena winning it more, so he has like a legitimate reign during his final run, but I don't know. I mean, we'll just wait and see. I would lean towards him winning, but I don't think it's a given. Especially the way this WrestleMania season's gone. It's been bonkers. So no adjustments on pit road. I was wrong about holding on to the lead. Combination of being the last car to pit, running out of gas, middle of the back straightaway, I guess was just enough that blew up our 2.5 second lead. Cycle out in fourth, and the 221 cars are running first and second. Ken Schrader leading, John Wood second, then Jeff Gordon cycled to third. Casey Kane fourth, Jimmy Johnson right behind us in fifth, who started on the pole. We went 65. I'm not going to go that far again, because I did give up more time than I thought I was going to doing that. So we'll probably look at lap 129, which would be 64 laps into this next run. Just ran our fastest lap of the race, 28.664. Again, no adjustments, but at the start of the race, we were in heavy traffic at the back of the pack. So I wasn't really able to get out in the open on fresh tires and put together some great lap times like we just did. Pass made on Gordon. John Wood. Still side by side up off the exit of the corner. Casey clears him for second. And less than 1 second off the lead. Do I like the heel Cena turn? I like the awe and the shock value of it. As far as like him as a heel, I mean, we haven't even seen an episode of Raw or SmackDown since the Chamber. I feel like a lot of people do like it. I mean, I'm all here for it. I'm engaged. I think that's all that matters. It's intriguing my interest. It's getting me, more excited to see what's going to happen in the next week and leading up to WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm all here for it. Slipped up the racetrack just a little bit. Overdrove the entry to the corner. John Wood going to get underneath Casey Kane. Casey trying to cross it back over. Gripping up down on the apron with all 4 tires all the way through 1 and 2. Just below that white hashed line on the bottom of the racetrack. Slide job and clear into turns 3 and 4 rather. A few tenths off of Schrader. By far, this is the most forgiving apron that we've had at any track we've raced on this game. And again, slipping up the track. Second Darlington stripe of the evening. And even with it, we still ran our fastest lap. Which doesn't make any sense to me. How that could be the case, but it was. Ooh, boy. Yeah, I'm pushing a little too hard. I gotta start backing these corners up a little more again. Especially in 3 and 4. I keep missing the bottom of the track. That's 3 times in the last 4 laps down there. I'm sliding wide. Side by side for the lead. Got him. Only 3 drivers to lead in this race are Casey Kane, Kenny Schrader, and Jimmy Johnson. Schrader has led twice. Kane has led twice. Johnson just at the start of the race. From the pole, he's still in the top 5. Second in the fantasy league. And you're in the lead. There you go. Good start through 3 races. Yeah, I've been very consistent. I definitely left some points in the garage this week, unfortunately. Decent week otherwise. I'm finishing in the top 10 every week in our fantasy league. That's why I'm up there in points. I haven't won a week yet, but I think I was 2nd, 4th, and 10th first 3 races, so and just keep doing that. I'll be fine. Got more top 10s this season than any other driver in the Cup Series, so that's good. Even though it's fantasy. I was just looking at it the other day. I think there's 28 people that played through the first 2 weeks. Might have more than that after last week. There's more than that in the league, but there are several that have not played yet for this week in the season. Nah, I'm not a cruise person. I've been on a boat before, but nah, I wouldn't want to be on a cruise. I do love seafood, but it doesn't mean I want to be caught at sea for like a week or several days. Not my thing. Like the sit down and relax thing to me, I want to be able to do like something like this, for instance. Well, not 2 things here. We got streaming and then we got the video games. Like these are 2 things I'd like to do. Wouldn't be able to do that on a cruise. Wouldn't be able to play golf on a cruise, so I'd have to take like a weekend off of golf. That ain't happening when the weather's warm. And if I'm traveling to somewhere where the weather is warm when it's not where I live here in Ohio this time of the year, then I'm going to go somewhere where it's warm so I can play golf. So that's a no-go. Not going to be able to know what's going on with the race if it's in racing season. When it's not racing season, it's football season. I want to watch my Packers. Michigan Wolverines if it's a Saturday. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that there's going to be great Wi-Fi. I mean, I'm sure like nowadays cruises probably do have some form of internet. I don't know how great it would be out at sea. Good for them though. They're enjoying, their lives. That's all that matters. That's just not my thing. There's so many other things I'd rather do that I like to do. I guess if it was ever free down the line and somebody asked me if I wanted to go, maybe I would consider doing it, but I'm not going to fork over my own money to do something like that just because it's not up my alley. Somebody just came out of the pits. I doubt that was a scheduled stop. Got a few drivers with engine issues already here in these first just over 80 laps of the race. From Toledo area. And Northwest Ohio. Your aunts and uncles and my cousin. Oh, wow, you got a lot of family over there then. I don't think my mom and my dad have ever done that. I don't think so, because they haven't seen the ocean that many times. I don't think they... Well, they might have... They might have went on a cruise when they went down to Myrtle Beach the couple times I went down there. I guess I haven't really asked them. I'll have to ask them. They might have gone on like a... I feel like they might have been. It might have been like a one-day kind of thing. I feel like I remember them telling me they were on some sort of a boat or something. Oh, you're from Bowling Green. Awesome, man. Actually, where I'm living right now, I am a little bit closer to BG than Toledo. I just give Toledo as a point of reference to people just because I don't want to tell them exactly where I live. But yeah, I am slightly closer to Bowling Green by technicality. I mean, it's pretty close. It's like almost halfway between drive time wise. Maybe it takes me an extra 10 minutes to get to Toledo than it would Bowling Green. Small world. I've heard that stadium's nice. I've gone past it, obviously, many times. They'll be home this... Well, I'm definitely not going during the weekend. We got live commentary streams going on. Yeah, I've never been to a college hockey game. I've been to several... I've actually been to a BG Toledo game for football in BG. That was a few years ago. It was when my sister was a freshman because she goes to the University of Toledo. So I went to that game. She was able to get in free. I could not, however. I had to pay, but I mean, it was cheap. It was a midweek game, too. It was pretty cold that night. Cold and windy. In mid-30s. 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was a gusty, cold night. It was a blowout, too. Toledo was up like 49-14 at one point. Like, it was getting pretty ugly. Scoring at free will. Would have been 2021, I believe. First time we've been really dealing with lap traffic over the several lap cars that we have passed. They're just so much slower through the middle of the corner than I am, and we've made contact with a couple of them. So their checkup is so much slower, really, than what we're going. Oh yeah, I've been to Finley. That's actually where one of the people I talked to at work, he lives in Finley, him and his wife. That's actually where I was on Saturday night for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. He's pretty good with wrestling. We actually went to the Royal Rumble last month and then SummerSlam this last summer together. Me, him, his wife, and then his brother also went. Only his wife couldn't make it to the Rumble, so it was just me, him, and his brother at the Rumble, but all four of us went at SummerSlam. Oh boy, man, Scott Riggs had a moment there. I don't know if Casey Mears hit him or not. It looked like he might have gotten into the back of him. Went straight up the hill. Yeah, there's definitely nothing going on Friday. I don't know. I'd rather just stay at home. I might have plans this Friday, but I don't know what time yet. Oh boy. Yeah, there's that checkup again. Yaley actually got in the back of that 84 of Olmendinger, and then I got into the back of him. Bit of a sandwiching effect there. Yaley got really loose. Could have brought out our first caution, but it did not. And we stay green. Once a Falcon, always a Falcon. I almost went to Bowling Green State University out of high school because they've got a pretty solid journalism program there. Had I went, I would have tried to get into that program. Visited the campus. So yeah, it was close. Kyle Lance, thanks for tuning in. Well, because my sister goes to UT, we actually pull for them when they're facing each other. But because I live so close to both universities, though, I do like to see them succeed on the athletic side of things when I'm watching, college basketball this time of the year, and hoping that one of them makes the tourney. Tries to maybe pull off an upset. Football season. Yeah, Chamber was crazy. Chamber was nuts. It started with a bang and it ended with a bang. There's some good stuff in between there, too. Yeah, it was pretty enjoyable watching it from TV. Honestly, of the pay-per-views from start to finish, PLEs, I always call them pay-per-views still, but because I'm old. But no, honestly, of the ones I've watched that I haven't been to in person, so discrediting SummerSlam the last 2 years, the Rumble the last 2 years, that was probably the most fun one I've watched since WrestleMania last year, honestly. Not counting, again, SummerSlam and the Rumble because I was there, so I don't want to kind of like factor that in because it's always going to be a fun time when you're there, but... yeah, there was a lot that went on. Some good matches. I had no idea it was even playoffs. I don't even watch college hockey, really. I'll wear my University of Michigan hockey, like, jersey hoodie thing. Because that's, like, the only Michigan University, like, jersey I have, and it's a Dylan Larkin jersey. And I have that because he plays for the Detroit Red Wings, and I'm a Red Wings fan, and I'm a Michigan fan. So I'll go to like a Toledo Walleye game or something, a minor league hockey game, and then I'll be wearing that because it's kind of closer to the colors of the Toledo Walleye. And I'll get people asking me like, "Oh, hey, you're a Michigan fan?" They'll start talking college hockey. I'm like, I haven't watched a single game, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a Dylan Larkin fan. It's I'm like, I could talk wings with you all day, but you're gonna be talking about stuff I don't know. You just have to nod and agree. There's this guy was talking to me for like 5 minutes about it, and I really didn't have anything to add on to it, and I felt very uncomfortable. It's kind of like at the end of it, I was like kind of nodding and agreeing with everything. Like, yeah. Yeah, they were close, man. They were close. I'm like, I have no clue. Just kind of BSing my way through the conversation he was having with me. I wasn't having with him. Uncomfortably try to get back to my seats before intermission was over. I think Naomi and Bianca did it. Honestly, I wouldn't have thought Naomi was going to be a part of it several months back when this whole thing started. I thought it would have been only Bianca, but I think they're both involved, honestly. And I think the only reason Jade didn't go after Bianca is because she was still locked in the pod. There's no way for her to get in there. But yeah, I think it was both of them. That and Bianca's reaction to Naomi getting beat up by Jade made me think that she was more on Naomi's side than Jade's if she had not known, which doesn't make any sense, because wouldn't you trust Jade's opinion that, like, she would know who beat her up? Like, you wouldn't need video footage, I feel like, as long as you weren't in a coma. You're going to remember it. Or unless she was, like, blackout drunk or something, like, maybe that, she doesn't remember getting beat up, but I'm pretty sure she'll remember who was throwing hands with her. I mean, I'm sure it'd be a good time to watch in person. There's other things I'd rather spend money on to go watch in person. Slater Family Ice Arena. That sounds like it might be like a open ice kind of thing, like a rink. No, it's the Stroh Center, I believe. I've heard it's a great facility, and from the outside, it looks pretty big, honestly. For a MAC school hockey / basketball, indoor athletic arena, I should say. There's a lot of sports that go on in there, I guess, technically. Volleyball probably goes on in there, too. Largest lead of the day, but it's only 3 seconds for Casey Kane. Over Jimmy Johnson, who is back into second place again, getting in front of the Wood Brothers machines of Wood and Schrader. Jeff Gordon's still in the top 5 and fifth. Dale Jr. 6th. We've pretty much had the same top top 6, excuse me, since we got up there right around lap 20 or so. We took the lead the first time at lap 24. Little over 20 laps away from us pitting. I just hope that Cena and Rock are on TV every week. If they're not on Raw tonight, it's okay as long as they're on SmackDown, just because Cody's on SmackDown anyway, so if you want to save it for then, fine, but they've got to be on TV every week between now and WrestleMania, because otherwise, I mean, the storyline's got so much capability to it, and I'm so intrigued. I don't want to have to wait for it to happen like a week or two before WrestleMania. Kind of like it was all basically thrown together with The Rock and Cody having this deal a week before Elimination Chamber. Like, I don't want that. That's not gonna sell me as much on it, because I'm sold already. Don't make me leave. Yeah, I'll definitely be watching Raw as soon as I'm done streaming tonight. Which, honestly, I might miss the start of it the way this race is going, because we've been caution-free this whole time. We're like not even a third of the way through this race, so we've already been streaming for over an hour. So, I might end up not getting this done quite as soon as I was hoping. I couldn't believe they didn't censor that out. I went back and watched it again the next day, and it still wasn't censored out on Peacock either. I was like, as I was watching it live, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to go back and rewatch this again, because it's not going to be uncensored anymore. But it still was the next day, so I don't know if Peacock censored it now. It was like the next morning when I saw that back. It's censored on like YouTube channels and stuff, but the bigger ones, you know, like your WWE and stuff like that. I don't know if it is on Peacock still or not. Yeah, that delivery was awesome. Randy's back too. KO and Sammy were trying to kill each other for about 30 minutes. Maybe longer. I don't know what the time of that match was. It was a pretty solid match. We're going crazy on each other, that's for sure. It's 2 PLEs in a row that Kevin Owens is trying to basically kill himself for our own entertainment. Trying to turn himself into the modern day Mick Foley. At 21 likes on the stream. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. For some reason, I feel like I've had less grip during this run than I did the run before this. Might have gotten more damage on the back of the car than what I had before. So I didn't make any adjustments when I was in the pits. Quarter tank of gas left this point in the run. Again, I was looking at pitting at lap 129 anyway. It's going to be our target number for what lap we were going to pit. At 65 laps the first run, we're going to try to go to 64 this time. Be a little safer on the fuel side of things. Just so we're not sputtering back to pit road like I was the last time. Didn't give up too much time, but I did give up some. I don't want to give up any if I could help it. So weird the way the packs are kind of laid out. There's two separate packs. There's us by ourselves and nothing else in between. So strange. I'll take the clean air advantage, everything I can get with it. Unless I have to deal with traffic around this side of a racetrack, especially later in the run with not as much grip like we have right now on our tires, I will take it. I don't even know how many cars I've lapped up to this point. I feel like I'd like to look at that leaderboard a lot more. I definitely do not look at it enough. I'll glance up at it every once in a while. Just so focused on trying to hit my mark so I don't wreck the car. Fluctuating right around a 3.5-second lead. We're 5 laps away from hitting pit road. Again, lap 129 is going to be our target lap. It'll be the second stop of the day. We'll have 3 sets of tires left the rest of the race after. We can only use 5 sets in the Cup Series on this game for ourselves. Another slight slide off of turn 2. That'll go away. We get fresh tires back on this thing again. I'm gonna put a half around a wedge into the car. Hopefully we have a lot of clean air like we have right now. Don't have to deal with a lot of traffic, so that way I'm not too tight in traffic, but I'd like to have a little bit more rear tire grip, because I do think this thing could be a little bit better. I think if Cena wins at Mania, I think Punk's taking the title off of him at some point. That's my bold prediction. He come back here to this March 3rd, 2025 NASCAR 08 Southern 500 stream. Because I do think we're going to get Punk Cena at some point. And they made Punk look super strong in the chamber match. Like, he literally kicked out of everything. He was the guy that was constantly getting pinned, finisher after finisher, especially when it was just him, Rollins, and Cena late. And he was kicking out of everything. And then even when he got stopped on the outside, he got put in the SDF, he didn't even tap, he just passed out. So, yeah, he lost, but he went down stronger than anybody else did the whole night. So, they've got big plans, I think, for Punk, obviously. A wrestling buddy I was watching with was flipping out at the fact that Punk didn't win again because that's his guy. Cursing out John Cena before he even turned heel. I'm like, don't blame Cena, and then Cena ends up kicking Cody downstairs. I'm like, oh, well, maybe he could boo him. Oof. A little bit of contact there with Kenza to stay on one more lap. Oh, I overdrove that pretty bad. Haven't been around traffic in a minute. Not on this old of tires until just there. It's just wobbling around everywhere. Letting Harvick go. Oh, I let him go and Menard closed the gap. There we go. I definitely had to stay to the bottom so I can pit this time. Try to turn the car down there without spinning it out. There we go. Coaster in. Oh, I didn't even... I don't know why it does that. Alright, I'm going to put 2 pounds of wedge in there. I'm going to drop the air pressure significantly. Major adjustments on our second stop this time. See what that does. Seth Rollins beat Cena. Man, I'm a big Seth Rollins fan. Not quite going to cycle out in the lead. It looks like Jeff Gordon, for the first time today, is out in front of the field here at Darlington. In the Southern 500, Casey in second. He had a 3.5-second lead, ended up losing it still. Half a second off of Gordon. So he tries to get by the lappers of Clint Boyer and Reed Sorensen. What is the grip level going to be like here on this 9 car of Casey Kane? Already ran our fastest lap of the race there, 28.496. So the adjustments might have gone in the correct direction for that of Casey. I feel more planted to the racetrack. Feels like I've added downforce and I didn't do that. Definitely feels like more grip. Oh, I had to lift. I got back in the gas too soon. I mean, I tightened it up a bunch. If I didn't have to lift off turn 4, that was going to be the fastest lap of the race because I tied the identical lap time to the lap before that. Gordon's pushing hard also, but he's got nowhere to go. Little power slide. Getting into the corner there. Casey's pushing hard, trying to catch Jeff. Fastest lap again. Don't want to push too hard, though. Burn the tires up this early in the run. Get him. Failed pass attempt there for Gordon on Boyer. And here comes Casey. Another fastest lap, 28.282. Gordon, for the life of him, cannot get by Boyer. And here comes Casey. Kane to the inside. Drove it in deep. Somewhat got it to stick. Oh, a little contact. Still ran a 28.183. Door to door for the lead. And Kane clear off turn 2. Casey overdrove the entry. So did Gordon, though. So he went wide, getting into the corner. Casey more towards the center of it. Both drivers giving up time to the lap cars of Sorensen and Boyer in front of him. And it's allowing for Jimmy Johnson to try to close the gap back from third. They're trying to back up the entry into 3. Time it outright to try to get by Boyer ourselves here. Boyer still to the outside, though. He's been a tough pass for Gordon, and now he's making it really tough on Casey Kane to put him a lap down. Got by Boyer, now trying to do the same with Sorensen. Got him. 2 lappers in the rear view. Went in front of the second place car of Gordon. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. Lap 140 in the Southern 500 at Darlington. We'll be around halfway when we go to pit for the 3rd time. And we have 3 more sets of tires left the rest of the way. Caution-free cup race on a 100%er in race number 11. I believe it took us on NASCAR 7 to the first Michigan race to go caution-free, so we're not quite that far into this season. Most of these cup races, though, we've had definitely more than one yellow. Almost 2/10 quicker than Gordon that last lap. 28.9 to his 29.1. God, Busch ran a 28.8. 28.5 by Harvick. Waltrip towards the back of the top 10. And our fastest lap is a 28.183, so makes sense. Speeds are up. later we get in the race, more of these teams making adjustments. It's getting a little bit quicker. Oh, big checkup. Burton got into the back of Vickers. And it caused for Casey Kane to get into the back of Burton. It happened earlier with a Red Bull car as well. That was when Boyer was next to him, and then we ran into the back of Boyer. You know, I'm impressed with myself that I only have 2 Darlington stripes at 145 laps. 2 of them that I can remember. Maybe I've hit the wall more than that, but I only remember 2. I'll take that. Definitely made more contact with cars than I have with the wall. Most of them lap traffic. Got by another one by the name of Sterling Marlin in the 14. Tony Stewart's the last car in the lead lap, 22nd, so we've lapped about half the field and just under half the race. Lift at a bad spot there in the back half of the last corner. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. I wonder if we can run a sub 28-second lap time. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Looking to lap Denny Hamlin side by side all the way down the front straightaway. Cleared him off turn 2. So now Hamlin's a lap down. About to lap inside the top 20 here shortly. Got Stewart, Bobby Labonte. Oh, I drove that in way too deep. I got the stick on the outside. Just to run into the back of Tony Stewart. Push him forward. I probably had enough room on the outside if I could have gotten a little wider, but scared I was going to end up in the wall. Ooh, maybe. Getting close. Our teammate Elliott Sadler's up here. Truex, who was up towards the front of the field at the start of the race. I saw that. Labonte ran right into the back of Truex. That's what stacked everything up that time. Cleared Labonte at least. Get back down to the bottom into the corner. 18th and 19th right there in front of us. Why do they check up so much? It seems to be in 3 and 4 more than anything where they're checking up like that. I mean, you guys are clearly seeing that too. They go from like 3 car lengths back to on them in a second or less. Such a narrow racetrack, I can't really avoid them. Second, I thought that was Jeff Gordon in front of us, but it's a 6 of David Reagan. From behind, it kind of looked like the DuPont colors. Dale Jarrett, yep. Okay, so that would be 16th and 17th. And then there is nobody for a while after them. I had plenty of time to check up. I started on the bottom, and then my car started drifting wide right as I was catching them. It's okay. We're doing fine. So we got a little bit of damage along the way. Clearing Jarrett off turn 2. I had just enough room to squeeze in between those two guys. Oh boy. With a power slide, that didn't help either. I've had enough of their checkups in the middle of 3 and 4. They don't do it on this end of the track. I'm expecting it this time. Gonna do my best to make sure that I am not in the same line as them. Oh man, that was so hard. I lifted in the middle of the corner just to try to make sure I was going to get to the inside because I couldn't get the car pulled down below the apron. Did at the last second, got by Reagan cleanly in that corner. So 15 cars are on the lead lap as we have been caution-free since the start of the race. Still not quite halfway. And we're also not quite halfway through this fuel run either, so got at least another 30 laps left of fuel in the car. Went 64 and 65 the first 2 runs on fuel. Tire wear has been all right for the most part. Our tires have been in the yellow pretty much all the way around by the end of a run, but not in the red, so we're not wrecking sideways, which is good, like we were at Richmond in the last Cup race. So we really struggled in the back half of the run in that one. About lost a 6-second lead at the end of a run. Another Darlington stripe, by the way, there off turn 4. I got in the wall the one time I hit the back of, I think it was Dale Jarrett when we first got to those guys too. So I believe that's 4 Darlington stripes. 2 of them in the last several laps. Trying to keep count. Big pack of cars back behind us. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I saw your comment about that. Obviously, I commented to it. I mean, I think it's way too far off in the conspiracy theory side of things to think that the Hamlin incident helped. I mean, it helped Bell win, but I'm not saying that he did it deliberately. It just so happened to help the case that he had about a 4-second deficit to Busch. He was closing on him at the time. He was about 0.4 seconds a lap faster. I don't know if he would have been able to keep that pace up for the last however many laps they had before the caution, like 16 laps to go. It was going to be close because he wasn't going to be able to keep a 0.4 second pace up all the way to the end of the race. It probably would have came down to those two. I don't think Busch would have fallen all the way back to 5th like he did for sure. And Byron was still in 2nd at that time too, so maybe if Busch had burned the tires off still under green like he did on that last restart, maybe he would have fallen as far back as 3rd. But, yeah, that caution definitely helped Christopher Bell, but, yeah, I wouldn't say it was a fix. Bell had a similar incident where he overdrove turn 1, and his car kind of turned right. Some of that might have been to miss Kyle Busch in front of him. And the only angle we had from the Hamlin deal, couldn't really tell if there was anybody directly in front of him. But he definitely locked him up, slid to the right. Pow, into Austin Dillon. It's easy to do. Guys are sliding tires all day. Get to that juncture of the race. It does suck that, you know, it's a battle for 20th going on that brings out the caution, but at the same time, I feel like that is usually the case every time we get a caution. Like the race is never anybody, well, I wouldn't say never, but very rarely it's somebody that's actually battling for something more meaningful towards the front of the field that causes an incident like that. It's always something back in the 20th place position or worse that's causing stress at the front of the field on a restart that ensues after the fact. Easy Network, welcome to the stream. $200 laps to go this time by. Man, we got a long ways to go yet. It's been an hour and a half. My goodness. Yeah, this is gonna be a long one. I knew it was gonna be long, that's why I started it at 5. I've been trying to do that more with the 500-mile plus length races on the Cup Series side of thing on this game. So I do try to end these streams at the 8 o'clock time slot or before. This one's definitely going to go even longer than that, even with the early start time. Don't know if Kyle's going to have that kind of a performance ever again. I think he can. COTA has been a great track for him. I mean, obviously, I was talking about it in the pre-race, but he had finished in the top 10 in 3 of the 4 COTA races before that, so now he's 4 for 5. It's definitely one of his better racetracks, and he's one of the better drivers at COTA since they ran there. And with RCR in 2023, when he raced at COTA, he finished 2nd. So he has had good runs with RCR at COTA already before. It's a good track for him, both with Gibbs and with RCR. Kyle Busch has actually had some really good runs at RCR on the road courses. And Tyler Reddick obviously won in the 8 car on some road courses, although Busch isn't winning them. He's running very consistent, and, you know, even if he's got a 3rd to 5th place car, catches a late race caution, you might have a good chance to win one of them. This weekend, he had the best car for the longest time. Didn't have the best car at the very end of the race, but he led the most laps, and there's a reason for that. He definitely had speed. Finished top 5, had a top 5 car, made the most of it. The big thing there is not getting involved in an incident trying too hard. There's a couple times I thought he was going to, because there was contact between him and Bell. He would kind of chop Bell off, doing whatever he could, hold on to the lead. Bell raced him fairly respectable, and I would say Busch did too. It was just a good, hard-fought battle, really, on both sides. I don't think anybody did anything wrong. I mean, I remember yesterday in the chat, there were a couple people that said something about Hamlin rigging it. So you're not the only one. I wouldn't say everybody's asking. I haven't seen a lot of it being pointed towards that, but I have seen a couple people throw that idea out. So, yeah, you're not the only one, but I don't know. I'd like to believe in good sportsmanship that trumps most things. Because something of that nature, you don't even know that Bell's going to survive a restart. Like, look at the initial start of the race when Chase Elliott was in 3rd. He got wiped out. Like, that could have been Christopher Bell from 3rd place on that last restart, too. So, you know, causing a caution, you don't even know if you're going to do any good. You might end up doing more harm to your team. if Bell gets taken out, especially with the way turn 1 is at Coda, with these double file restarts in NASCAR. Yeah, I know you're not saying it. You're throwing the idea out there. I mean, I believe it was a racing incident. Don't think we're going to make any adjustments on this next pit stop. Definitely think I have to be a little bit better on my pit entry than what I was the last time, though. I feel like I waited too long to try to make the dive. I think I got to be more down on the apron getting into turn 3 than I was. Should be looking right around lap 193. I would think, if I'm doing my math correctly. Yeah, 193 would be 64 laps. Barely over a dozen laps away. Ooh. Little slideways off turn 4. Almost tagged the wall at the right rear. Chase Elliott had the best car. I don't know about that. He had quite a bit of damage. I will say his team made great adjustments to try to help the handling of the car. Because he had the broken toe link. He came down onto pit road. It wasn't fully broken, so that's why he was able to kind of go out there, and he was still somewhat quick. Quick enough to at least maintain speed and score, I think, 5th place stage points in stage 1. And then at the end of stage 2, he was pretty much 30th or worse that entire stage still. So that car definitely was not great. It was not in as good of condition as what we expected. And they were trying to tough it out. And then all of a sudden he was able to kind of cut through the field, but he really only got to about 20th. And he was one of the benefactors of that last caution because he was able to take tires from where he was running, which was already mid-pack or back in the pack. So he actually didn't really lose any positions pitting. He was right on the verge of one of the first cars that cycled off of pit road with fresh tires and avoided, the melee on that first lap and a half after that next restart. Gained a couple positions out of that and just kind of slowly cut his way through the field on the fresher Goodyears. Got up to 4th. Had he not been on fresher tires, I don't think he would have had a top 10 finish yesterday. Restart or not. Alex Bowman, the fact that he got up there and he didn't pit. He leapfrogged track position by staying out, but he still drove up to 9th, not even having fresh tires. I thought that was even more impressive on the driver's standpoint side of things. As far as the team standpoint, the strategy call there for Alan Gustafson and the 9 team, it definitely fell in their lap. Great effort by the pit crew keeping him in the race, keeping him on the lead lap that whole time, which easier to do, but still not easy on a road course. Still got to be quick. Got to know what's going on with the car to make whatever fine-tune changes you need to make and just keep the hope and keep the fight alive. And yeah, he was able to get a top 5 out of it, so It looked like it was a rough day for Hendrick Motorsports, and then at the end of the race, they still had 3 of their cars in the top 10, so ended up being a not-so-bad day whatsoever. Outside of Byron, everybody else was getting issue after issue, it seemed like, especially end of Stage 2, into Stage 3 with Bowman and Larson. Then Elliott still wasn't recovering at that point. I thought Byron was going to be the only Hendrick car in the top 10 there for a while. Yeah, multiple penalties for Bowman. Slow pit stop in there, too. Back at Stage 1. Yeah, he's another one of those drivers, though, just like Kyle Busch, just good at COTA. You wouldn't think anything of it, but one of his better tracks. Just always performs well there. He and Reddick are the only 2 drivers that have a top 10 in every COTA race, all 5 of them so far. So. And actually for Bowman, that was his worst finish of the 5 was 9th. Because he had finished 8th or better in every race at COTA before that. Hit by David Stremme, who was already more than a lap down. Cleared him off turn 4. I believe that's the 2nd lap that Stremme has lost in this one. Little bit past halfway. Reached the halfway mark a couple laps ago. Probably get this stream over with just before 8:30 if I had to guess. Looking at time-wise of when this race is going to finish out. Assuming that we last all 500 miles, of course. Anything can still happen there. Got some cars hitting pit road. It's still going to be about another 5 laps until we pit. And lap 193 will be the target lap. Quite a few cars are on their way to pit road if they haven't pitted yet. Yeah, 1 lap lead on the field now. I can go about 64 to 65 laps on fuel. At 64, the last run 65 before that, but I ran out on the back straightaway on 65, so just for safety precautions, trying not to go quite that far again. Yep, don't have to take 2 tires. I think the 500-mile races, if we don't get a lot of cautions, there shouldn't be any issue with having to... You know, we run most of these runs out. We're not having to force to pit too early into a tire stint. We don't really have to worry too much on the strategy side of things for the tires. The race I'm scared about is the Coke 600. That's an extra 100 miles. We'll see how that's going to go. Actually, I think that's the next race, if I'm not mistaken. It'll have to be another night for us to run that one. Oof. We're going to pit this time. Try to get a better pit road entry. There we go. Took it a lot easier. Try gassing it up a little bit there. Oh. trying to get it closer to the 70 mile per hour speed limit. Almost bit myself there. I'm going to put a half around a wedge into the car. Slight adjustment. Got a little bit of damage to repair. We hit a few cars from behind during the course of that run. Not worth speeding, yeah. Decent car, lead, fast car, yeah. We've got the quickest car in the race. Oh, man, I lost a lot of time. Wow. I think it was just a lengthier stop having to repair the damage. A lot of cars in between us and Jimmy Johnson, who's going to cycle into the lead. This is the first time Jimmy's led since about the first dozen laps of the race. And he's got 6.8 seconds on us. Slight wedge adjustment. Still trying to tighten it up just a little bit. But definitely helped the first half of the run. Really the first 2/3 to 3/4 of the run. But still a little too free on the back half. I don't think I'm going to change that completely considering it's Darlington. You can see we still got that old asphalt here as well. So there's not a lot of grip in the racetrack, but I'm doing what I can. Yeah, 5 lap pressure tires. They started pitting about lap 187, so you're right on that. Plenty of time. I'm not worried about it. We've led the most laps up to this point, so I don't think that's going to be in any danger. Still got the fastest car in the field. Just got to do my own thing, get through traffic cleanly. We'll get there. Long race. That was the last stop. I'd be a little bit more nervous, but there's just so much time left in this thing. And our car is that fast that we'll be okay. If we're having to fight for track position like we've had to do at some tracks this season, that'd be one thing, but we had to fight at the beginning of the race for it, but it wasn't all that hard looking back on it. Yeah, we're already cutting that deficit down pretty quickly. Almost a lap 200. Jeff Gordon won this race in real life, correct? Won the 2007 Southern 500? Let me know in the chat. I think he did. Could be wrong on that. Yeah, I didn't speed, so that's good. Yeah, then I would have been over 10 seconds off the lead. That might have taken me a whole run to get up there. Two sets of tires left the rest of the way. Still no cautions at this point in the race either. Gordon won, okay. That's what I thought. That's what my memory was telling me. It hasn't faded completely on me yet, so that's good. Wonder how many more cars got back on the lead lap. Having that 3-second lead go away. Nearly blew a motor because he overheated, I think. Well, he made it. And he won it. Yeah, those Car Tomorrow races in 2007, man, Jeff Gordon was so strong in almost every single one. He was either winning one of the cars to beat. So I remember he had that photo finish where he finished second to Jimmy Johnson and to Denny Hamlin. Those were a couple that got away from him. He won Phoenix, he won Darlington. The first half of that season in particular, he was so dominant on the Car of Tomorrow races. Like first, second. I don't know where he ended up at Bristol in the Food City 500 exactly, but there were a lot of really close finishes on the shorter tracks that year. Yeah, Hendrick Motorsports as a whole just had 2007 on lockdown. Even Casey Mears ended up winning the Coke 600 that year. Didn't Hendrick win like half the races? Or nearly half of them? Kyle Busch had a few in there. Really, it was Hendrick Motorsports with the Car Tomorrow, if you think about it, that they had that master. It wasn't just Jeff Gordon. And Kyle Busch won at Bristol. I mentioned the Johnson at Martinsville already. Especially that first half of the season. Again, Gordon at Phoenix and Darlington. 19, yeah, they had that season covered. Casey Mears didn't finish anywhere near as high as points, but he still got a win. So I'm saying you put anybody in a Hendrick Motorsports car, I think they can win a race. If they're a Cup Series level driver, of course. But anybody, my knowledge of knowing who has ever driven for Hendrick Motorsports, they've all won. Like Jerry Nadeau won a race. We've had some. I mean, Brian Vickers was able to win once with Hendrick. Ken Schrader, Ricky Craven. Well, Craven didn't. Ricky Craven might be the only guy at Hendrick Motorsports that I can think of didn't win a race, but at least he was able to get 2 wins after the fact. So it wasn't a complete bust. But, I mean, almost everybody that stepped foot in a Hendrick car has won. Put Justin Haley in there, I bet he wins 2 races a season. He might. I guarantee he could at least keep up with Bowman, and Bowman's not bad. Just Haley's, been doing what he's doing and underfunded equipment like his whole Cup career. It's better example, Ross. Ross has already 1 to 2 wins a year with Trackhouse. 3 years at Trackhouse, he's won 1 to 2 races. If Ross is in a Hendrick car, I guarantee you he's winning 3 to 4 races a year. You would think that would go up. I'd probably say 2 to 4. Ross wins 2 to 4 a year if he's at Hendrick Motorsports. Because he's winning 1 to 2 a year the first 3 years he's been at Trackhouse. He was top 10 the entire race this weekend until that last restart, ended up finishing 12th. But he was pretty much like 7th to 10th the whole race. Got a huge line of traffic in front of us. All the top three are somewhere in this gaggle of cars. Yeah, he won Nashville 23. He's got 5 career wins on the last 3 seasons. Little wiggle. I wasn't sure if I was going to get that corrected without keeping it off of everybody, but I did. Man, there's just so many cars up in front of us. This is nuts. As heavy as the lap traffic has been all day today. Yeah, didn't Richard Petty only win in Darlington once? Over his 200 wins in the Cup Series? Just crazy. I just feel like automatically Richard Petty won at every track he raced at least 5 times. It's like my math in my head is like, how the hell did he get to 200? I know they ran more races back then, but even still. Little check up there on the front stretch. Just able to get checked up myself. Looking to the bottom. Better just follow David Reagan. Sneak into the inside still. Just trying to poke my nose in there. Cleanly, of course. I want to tag him in the left rear. He's making moves, though. It's making it difficult, I mean, to try to stay underneath him. There we go. It's getting by the 1 of Truex. Actually, that was the 7 of Robbie Gordon we just passed. Different black car. Oof. Jeff Burton won a few races there, late 90s, early 2000s. He was pretty good at Darlington, too. Darlington and New Hampshire were like Burton's tracks, plural. It's our 5th Darlington straight. About to have our... Nope. Thought we were going to get our 6th. Very next corner. Had to lift. Still in 4th. Only 1 second off the lead, though. I believe Johnson's made itself to the front of this pack. We'll check up. Slight contact with Jeff Thornton, I think, still. I saw some sparks. Pass on Gordon, 3 wide with the lap car on the outside. Didn't even pick him behind David Ruderman to make that pass. Casey back up to third. John Wood still holding on in second. What a race for John Wood today. The lady in black. Oh. A fender bang there with Casey Mears in the 25. Slowed us down a bit. John Wood's closing in on Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Is he maybe going to have a chance to get to the lead before us? Still several lap cars up ahead. Casey drives it in deep. Oh, this is not going to end up well. Just drove right through him. That probably was not the way to make that pass. That was Darlington stripe number 6. Yeah, if I were him, I wouldn't be too happy about that either. And I don't blame him. Well, at least he didn't cut a tire. Guess it could have been worse. Race it quickly, trying to get to Jimmy Johnson before he could get to him. All these lap cars in the way, though. Jimmy's not going anywhere. Some fast ones, too. Waltrip, Harvick, Kenseth, Earnhardt, Mark Martin. Legends. In front of the 48, who is a legend of his own right. Backing up the entry into 3, getting a run through the middle, and here we go. A little slide. Jimmy's going to lead this lap at the line, but Casey has him picked behind Matt Kenseth in the 17. Jimmy trying to force his way into that middle line. Casey doesn't want to give it to him. Closes the gap. Little loose off turn 2, powering it down. I want to clear Kenseth. Couldn't do it. Had to keep it off of him there at the last second. We'll get him into 3. All right, there we go. Johnson's boxed in. Kevin Harvick got back underneath him, too. Only 10 cars on the lead lap. Darlington stripe number 7. Right off of turn 4 there. Halfway out of gas now at this point in the run after just passing Johnson the last lap. I guarantee almost everybody gets a Darlington stripe at the end of a Darlington Cup race. 500 miles especially. Yeah, it was a kiss. It still counts though. I mean, seven scrapes against the wall and 228 laps of this track. That's not bad. Our car hasn't been ill handling. I mean, it's been quick. But it hasn't been perfect either. Making adjustments all race. Oh, it's shoving now. I tapped the wall a little bit again. Jimmy's got to run. Looking low. Casey with the block. Holds on. I don't know how Johnson was able to stay ahead of Kenseth and Harvick. It looked like he was swarmed by those two, and they were going to get back by him. Mike Wallace up in the top 10 again. Cliff Daniels suspended 2 to 4 races, right? Plus Truman. Oh, because of the Larson tire? I think so. I can't remember what the suspensions are. They changed it from where it originally was. Because didn't it used to be 6 races when this first happened? Or maybe it was 4 and now it's less. I don't know how many it is now, honestly. Definitely know the crew chief's getting fined. I don't know if the crew chief gets suspended or if it's just the pit crew members. 4 races. Big slide again. Into the corner. A little bit of a checkup after the fact. Got by Nemechek. Three wide. Oh, that got tight for Dale Jr. Really tight. Double Jimmy 2020. That was almost a Jimmy 2020 moment for sure. I didn't get too loose though. But it got sketchy going 3 wide there. We probably didn't have to go 3 wide. Man, I remember that too. Jimmy was having such a good race. He was about to win the first stage. He was dominating. That was really the last of like super competitive Jimmy Johnson we ever saw. Ended so prematurely that day. Check up in 3 and 4 again. Probably going to have to try to pass him down there next lap. Have him not be in the way again. Stack the entry up. There we go. Get a run. Go to the outside. Scrape the wall a little. Gosh darn it. If I didn't get against the wall. I don't like this spot at all. Give it up, David. Just accept that you're going to be a lap down. Look at that power move. I'm going to consider short pitting this stop, honestly. That way I'm not going to lose too much time because it took us half a run to get to the lead. Picked up another Darlington stripe in there too. So what are we at now? 8? 9? I overcorrected. This is another reason I'm looking at it. I've been making a lot of contact this run already. I think I'm going to come in. Got 2 sets left. Got plenty of time. We're well in that window. I'm not worried about it. Come out with a big lead. That was my best pit road entry of the race, by the way. I didn't slide the tire, probably because the tires weren't as old. All right. I'm going to take that half a round of wedge out of it. I do feel like it was a little too tight. Knock it back to where it was just before that. Clean stop. Yeah, we were just inside our window there. We go 64, 65 laps to the finish. We'll make it to the end, which is how far we took the first 2 runs of the race. Yeah, we can make it. We're right on the edge of it, but we can make it on one more stop. My car was way too tight. And I came out with clean air, which is perfect. Fresh tires, clean air. Yeah, we went 64, which we're right at our number here. Just got to make sure that we end up pitting with... Try to get the 65 laps to go if I can. And we'll come out with 64 to go, and I think we'll be fine. Probably going to have a 5 to 6 second lead. Yeah, might have our largest lead of the race. As long as I'm not giving up too much time on the back half of the run. But the setup's going to be better now than what it was, too. So I'm probably going to eat into his gap even more than I was before. Going to be a caution late. You know it. I know it. It's like the Coda race. Sorry, I had to speak of it. Well, I hope not. We haven't had a caution this whole... Well, however many miles we've completed up to this point. Over 300. Plus no damage now, yeah. Well, minimal. It doesn't repair all of it. So whatever it can repair, essentially. Still got to carry some of it. Especially if you had quite a bit. Which we didn't have that much. I didn't hit anything hard. Not like I crashed or anything like that throughout the race. But yeah, no caution-free races this season, so I don't know. We might end up catching a yellow at some point. Fastest lap still that 28.183. Both the 21 cars in the top 5. Yeah, they've both been up towards the front portion of the field the whole race. Kyle Busch is up to 5th now. All right. He's moving. 5 cars on the lead lap. We're catching this big pack of lap traffic that we just had to deal with, too. Oh, this is perfect. If they start pitting before we catch that pack, that would work out so perfect for us. Crew chief said, yeah, we got cars pitting. Very minimal at most. 5, 6 cars coming down there. A couple of the lap before that. Yeah, that's perfect. I really didn't end up pitting that early. compared to the first car that ended up coming after me. About 12 laps. A lot more cars coming down right now, including John Wood. In front of that line, so we're back on the lead lap. Caution won't screw us. I swear, if we don't come out with the lead here, it's going to be some cruddy luck. Mathematically, you wouldn't think that there's any way we're not going to have the lead. John Wood hasn't even gotten to the start-finish line yet. Oh, we're going to have a Mark Martin still out there. Mark Martin hasn't pit yet, but we're up to second. And we're going to be quite a ways by the time they get up to speed ahead of second place car. Still a little less than 4 seconds off of Martin. 5 bonus points up for Mark, leading his first lap. See if he pits this time. Yeah, he's on his way. Got a lap car coming with him as well. Oh, we'll see the difference. It's going to be our largest lead of the race by far. Our largest lead was about 3.5 seconds. It's not as much as I would have expected. It's almost 5 seconds. It's about 4.9. Yeah, you're right. Didn't you say 5 to 6 seconds? Almost hit the nail on the head there. The hammer on the head, not the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head. Jeez Louise. Well, now, how much is the 12 laps going to make of a difference? By the time some of the leaders pitted, it was probably more like 13, 14 laps. So 13 to 14 lap difference. Already clinched the most laps led. John Wood actually cycled the second ahead of Johnson. He pitted a lap after him. 6 cars on the lead lap in this race. Crazy. It's like we're catching a slow car. Oh, it's Kyle Busch, who's on the lead lap. Catching Busch extremely quick. Got under him off turn 2. Five cars on the lead lap here in the Southern 500 at Darlington. Ken Schrader is the last of which on the lead lap. Boyer's up to 7. But Kyle Busch now in the free pass position if we were to see our first yellow. Pause it for a quick second. Lagginess going on with the stream there. I think I've fixed it now. Oop. Yeah, I have no clue what kind of restart gear we have in it because we haven't had a restart. I'm not going to like it just because of the lap cars on the inside and the lead lap cars. I don't want to be on the outside again here at Darlington if I don't have to. I've only been there once and I hit the wall twice. Save any fuel? I don't plan on it. Maybe later in the run if it feels like we need to, but honestly, I think we're going to be fine. I've hit the 64 number pushing the whole run already. We shouldn't have to save. I'm trying to keep the gap where it is, having the slightly older tires. Pretty much, it's been fluctuating between 4.7 to 5.3 the entire run. Kind of going back and forth. Probably depends on what kind of lap traffic John Wood, who is in second right now, is dealing with. 2 Wood brothers, 2 Hendrick cars top 5, and then obviously a Dodge for Evernham leading the way. My pace has been quite a bit slower, too. 1.3 seconds slower than our fastest lap. We did make an adjustment change from where we had it. Took a half a round of wedge out of it. You know, I mentioned coming into this race, Kyle Busch was going to need to have a good run if he was going to want to have any sort of shot of making the chase, which is going to be slim to none with the slow start to the season he's had. But running in 6th right now, that's a good start. Got a few chasers that are ahead of him right now. Johnson, Gordon, Ken Schrader, in fact, Case Kane, but just got to be one of the top 12 at the end of the 26 race regular season. Yeah, still a ways to go. 100 laps left. Almost 2.5 hours into this race. This race, I knew it was going to be long, but for some reason it feels longer than usual. It's got to be because of the pacing and there hasn't been a caution or something. Darlington stripe number 9. We're closing up on Kenny Schrader, who is in 5th. The other 3 are pretty much in that group of cars behind us. So we still got 4 drivers who are very much in this race to win it. Oh boy, he had a big run. 3 wide, caught on the inside of Dave Blaney, slowed himself up a ton. I think the 40 might have checked him, all up. David Stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them all up. David stremme. 40 might have checked them Halfway through the fuel run, tires still easily managing fairly well at this point in the run. Having only one set of tires left the rest of the way, though, I mean, the caution comes out. If we're not in the fuel window, I mean, we're obviously staying out. The only thing I would be able to do is top off on fuel. Or take rights and then take lefts later, but I don't want to do that. We think the tires are really going to hold on. So we are already kind of slipping and sliding by the end of a run anyway, and I freed it up more under the last pit stop also. We've managed this nearly 5-second gap the entire time. That's all I wanted. Just let me manage it. Bring it home from there. So you never know if I'm going to cycle back out in a bunch of traffic. Or have to deal with that at all after we make our final pit stop as well. Yeah, this is the car tomorrow. Select races on the season run in the car tomorrow, then Gen 4, just like the actual 2007 season. I'm glad that they were able to incorporate that in this game accurately when playing either the career or the season mode. Oh, man, I thought it was going to end up in the wall there. It didn't fishtail on me, but it definitely fed out pretty wide. I don't think it was... I think he was talking the... I mean, what director of hockey operations are you talking about? Talking like for the NHL or the team? The right rear is giving a little bit of wear. For the college. Lead's starting to diminish just a little bit now. Once that right rear started to wear out, I've seen it as low as 4.1, which is as low as it's been. So we're managing in the first half of the run. The back half, we're starting to give up a little. Not sure if we're going to catch this big group of lap cars or not before we pit. We're definitely catching them. Yeah, all three of those guys are out of the race real early, too. Eee. Wall scrape cost us another tenth or two. Dang it. Two laps in a row off turn 4. Darlington stripe counter's up to 12, I believe. Nearing in on 300 laps. Smooth as fast, yep. Need to be like butter. Catching and passing David Rudiman from quite a ways back, getting into the corner. Putting him another lap down. Drive it like he's still... I gotta drive it like I got a cheetah in there. A cougar. Oh, got another slow car. Oh, our teammate Scott Riggs just blew an engine. Front straightaway. He'll be working his way back to pit road this time. Big wiggle there. Ooh, baby. That got tight. Get me down to the bottom. Oh my gosh. How did I not hit anything? There was not a lot of room there. I was sliding off a 4. Kept it off the wall and kept it off of Tony Stewart. And barely squeezed into the bottom between Stewart and Reagan. And to the front stretch so I could get back to the inside. That's still, yeah, that's still Riggs. Down at the bottom of the racetrack. I wasn't sure if that was still him or not. It was. Any birthdays for my family this month? Not that I know of. In March. My grandma's birthday was last month. Turned 70 years old. February 18th. Yeah, there's been a lot of tragedy in like U.S. history on my some of my family members' birthdays. Like my mom was born obviously before 9/11 happened, but yeah, September 11th. Then her grandpa would have been born on the same day too, on 9/11. My grandma was born on the date of Dale Sr.'s death in the 2001 Daytona 500. It's kind of strange, but some history facts there for you with birth dates in my family. Crazy. You want to know something else that's crazy? Those happened in the same year too. They happen to fall on some relatives' birthdays that are close to me. Speed glitch going on, I'm sure. At least on the lap cars. Lead lap cars are starting to catch us. My car's also not handling like it was earlier in the run either, and they still have those 13 to 14 lap pressure tires. Mom's birthday. Oh, jeez, I was trying to read. 51. They definitely slow up way more in 3 and 4. Man, I thought I was underneath the J.J. Yaley. All down to a 3-second lead. Back into clean air. A random spam call at like 7:40 at night. The heck? No, thank you. I'm good. I don't want what you're selling. No, I don't want to go on a free cruise. That was odd. Seems like a weird time of the day for that to happen. Yeah, I think my dad's going to be 50 next year. Oof. Look out. Oh, God, I was riding the wall second half of that corner. $13. Baker's dozen. On the Darlington wall stripe counter. It's down to 2.7 to 2.8 seconds. There's 70 laps to go, this time by at the line. This is a clean corner. Almost a 2.5 second split. Oh, I didn't realize that John Wood wasn't in second anymore either. Jimmy Johnson's in second. Got by him at some point. Get those Goodyear Eagles on here. We'll be soaring like an eagle. What a long race. What a long race to go caution free. My goodness. I paused it for like a whole 2 seconds twice. It's because I had keep the lagginess a stop on OBS and turn the volume down like 2-3 laps into the race. On the game audio on OBS too. Other than that, been toughing this one out. Somebody just texted me. They're gonna have to wait. We have to wait about another full fuel run at Darlington here. I might be able to get to them while I'm on pit road, actually. We'll have 67 laps left at the line this time by. First birthday, same day as the Kansas race. Give me the Dr. Feelgoods. Another Days of Thunder reference there. Oh, we're out. Oh my gosh, get to pit road. That was a all of a sudden moment there. I was not expecting that. Thank God I was on that end of the racetrack. All right, no adjustments. 4 tires and a full tank of Sunoco race fuel here. Oh, somebody sent me a couple of videos. Yeah, that's gonna have to. It's gonna have to wait. I don't have enough time for that right now. Oh boy, I'm so tight, dude. I whooped my own ass working out yesterday. Like right before the stream. That's why I was kind of out of it when we did the trivia on the pre-race. I wasn't thinking clearly because I got done working out like 20 minutes before, so my mind was still kind of mentally exhausted. I was good to go for the race. I thought my commentary, I knocked it out of the park yesterday listening to it back, but the first like 20 minutes of the pre-race there when I was trying to do the NASCAR trivia, I wasn't ready for that. I had plans in the morning, so I couldn't get the workout in before then, and ended up having to kind of crunch it early in the afternoon instead. At least it was slightly later start time, being not in the East Coast, so gave me that extra time to do so. 19.5. Yeah, it was a better stop than we had before. Cycled off of pit road. It would have been lap 304, which would be 64 laps to make it to the end. So we did go 65 that run, which is why we ran out of gas in 3 and 4. That would make sense. I didn't do my math to realize I was at 65 to go. Otherwise, I would have known to pit that time anyway. So it's actually kind of good I ran out where I did. Didn't run out in 1 and 2 the following lap. So 64 laps to make it. And I really didn't have to slow down any extra because I actually had to brake pretty hard to get to pit road because it was a late dive. Yeah, my pit entry was, yeah, because I didn't basically go down to the apron going into 3. I had to jam on the brakes. And really, I didn't start losing control of my car, which was good. So, yeah, all in all, that actually worked out even better, oddly enough. Yeah, we're going 1 less lap on fuel this time than I did the last time, so we'll be good. 64, we haven't run out. We ran out at 65 twice now. Actually paced it even better, not running out until the middle of 3 and 4 that time. Just need this to go caution-free. We're in 15th. We were in 28th when we cycled out of the pits the first time we pitted before the rest of the field. 60 laps to go. 59 technically for Jimmy Johnson, who leads. Yeah, that short pitting right at our number was big. It's our final set of tires the rest of the race, though, so we're really banking on this thing going caution-free still, which it has to this point. We catching caution those final 20 laps on those old tires. That might end up having to try to fight them off like Kyle Busch was doing at Cody yesterday if that happens. I'd like to think that that's not going to happen because of the way the pace of this race has gone. I haven't noticed anybody with quite a bit of damage to cause any sort of debris yellows like we see from time to time either. I think we're good. Kenseth's up to the free pass spot now, but that might change after green flag pit stops. Lose 1 point out of the final playoff spot. Tight race. for your St. Louis Blues. I was wondering what the 4-1-1 meant. Since Four Nations. It's a little confused on that. Understood the 1 point out of the playoffs. Clean air while Jimmy's near traffic. Yeah, that's exactly what happened the last time, too. We got out to a 5-second lead. I would like to have around that same lead again. If it's anything less. Because, I mean, we gave up almost 3 seconds that entire last run, so. We had it up to 5.3 at one point. It got down to almost 2 seconds flat when we pitted. Jimmy's coming in right now. John Wood's staying out at least one more lap, which is exactly what they did the last time. And Wood actually cycled in front of Johnson, even pitting a lap later. Jimmy going to have to try to have a better pit stop this go-around. And traffic on pit road could be a determining factor, of course, as well, like you just mentioned. Again, we have not won back-to-back races all season, so here in race number 11, we'll see if we can do it. Still got 3 more cars that have to pit in front of us yet. Actually, they're on pit road right now. We just unlapped ourselves. At least one of them is, John Wood. Imagine maybe the others are on pit road as well because nobody's taken over the lead yet. Yep. So Casey Kane, official lead change at the start-finish line this time by. We'll be back in the lead yet again. Well, that's not good. We only have a 3-second lead. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's less than it was before. Hang on. 3.3 to 3.4. But that's less than the nearly 5.3 we had earlier. We can't be giving up too much pace here. Oh, you dominoes. Oh, boy. Yeah, there's still quite a bit in there. Jeez. 30 stripes or less. Well, we're only at 13, so I'd like to think I'm not going to have 17 in the final run. You think I'm going to have more just because I'm pushing harder? Is that where you're getting at? Less laps with the tire advantage. That's true. Hopefully I don't give up as much then. Yeah, a little loose there. That was me trying to push too hard. Exactly what I didn't want to do. And Jeff Gordon's up to third, too. Still got 4 cars on the lead lap. Mark Church Jr.'s up to 5th. Where'd Kyle Busch go? He's 10th. I was going to say, he was up in the top 5 earlier. Kenseth fell to 11th. He was in the free pass spot before the pit stop started. Not anymore. We'll see if we can get back up there for the end of the race if we were to see a yellow. Got our other teammate just up ahead. Elliott Sadler in the 19. I've never had Hunt Brothers Pizza. Gas station pizza? I like how where it shows Montoya out of the race and last, he's over 300 laps down because he DNF'd in like the first 20 laps of the race. Do my math right, he's going to be about 350 down by the end. Chase Elliott finished 4th yesterday. He and Bowman. Your Bowman had the... Man, it's tough. I think as a team collectively, the 9 team had the drive of the day. But if we're talking driver itself, I'm going to go with Bowman. Because on that last restart, Bowman had an older tire still. Had stayed out of the pits, leapfrogged. I think he restarted either 15th or 16th. But he was towards the back end. He was like one of the last drivers of those on old tires. Where Chase Elliott had fresh tires. Restarted around 20th, just a few rows behind him. So I think as a team, because of the resilience that 9 team had with the damage early, the team overall had the drive of the day. But if we're talking driver, I'll give the drive of the day to Bowman. I'll give the Young Gun of the Race award to Noah Gragson, by the way, for running top 5 there towards the end. I think he ended up with a 6th place. No. Where did he end up in the finishing order? 7th? 7th or 8th? Justin Haley had a good run too, but he wasn't really up there as much as Gragson. Haley didn't really show up in the top 10 till the final stage. Noah was kind of there from like middle of stage 2 onward. Because there was one point where it was he, Busher, and Blaney were like 8th, 9th, 10th towards the end of stage 2, and Gragson was slightly higher than the other two. He was the better Ford at that point. Who would have thought Noah Gragson was going to be carrying the banner for Ford yesterday at COTA? For Front Row Motorsports, nonetheless. Cost him a chance at the win for sure. I had him on my fantasy team, so he ended up actually scoring decent points still. Yeah, Penske has been good at road courses with the next gen whatsoever. Ryan Blaney looked like he was going to have a top 10, and then I saw he finished 19th. I don't know what happened. From like the end of stage 2, most of the way through stage 3, he was around 9th or 10th the whole time. I don't know what happened to him. Had to be something on that last restart where maybe he got shuffled out of line and lost a bunch of spots. Older tires, I guess. I have a hard time believing he lost 10 positions without contact. 15 Darlington Stripes, by the way, just hit the wall again off turn 4. We've actually extended our lead by almost a half a second. Well, maybe not. Fluctuates on both ends of the track. I give it up in 1 and 2, and I get most of it back and then some in 3 and 4. AI in a pack, just they're way slower in 3 and 4 than I am. So I ran into the back of several cars throughout the course of the race. Joe's Pasta and Pizza. Go-to pizza place for you. Yeah, go-tos I highly recommend. Buddy's Pizza out of Detroit would technically be my favorite. Family-owned chain. It's good stuff every time I go up to the Detroit area. I was on the brakes in the middle of the corner to keep it off of Bobby Labonte, and I still got around him, jamming him. Almost ran right into his left rear. We didn't start really giving up time until we got into the back half of the fuel stint. We're getting pretty close to that now. Once that right rear tire got into the yellow on the tire wear indicator is when we started giving up time. And in that time alone, we gave up over 3 seconds before we pitted. So we've increased that lead to about 4 seconds. So mathematically, you know, I just keep pushing, don't make a huge mistake. I don't think we're going to give up this entire advantage. They may get to within a second by the end of the race, but we're not going to give the whole thing up. Braking burns up the rear tires. Yeah, I'm not braking much. 3 and 4, I definitely am. 1 and 2, I'm barely lifting. Kind of burping the throttle a few times in 1 and 2. There's some EA games I could kind of go flat foot all the way through the corner when the tires aren't wore out quite yet. Early in the run. I don't feel the capability of doing that here, but the lap times in this game are so much quicker than the earlier EA games we played. I remember at Bristol we were running close to high 13s. Actually, we did break into like a 13.8 or something like that by the end of the race. Like, they are way quicker in this game, especially with the car of tomorrow, I've noticed in particular. Even some of the mile and a half though will run like near 28 flats at like a Texas or something. It's just super quick. We were running that at Texas, and I don't even think I had a... Yeah, I didn't win that race. I think I finished 4th. Really quick laps, but I wasn't the quickest car. Anytime we've been in the car of tomorrow in this game, though, we dominate. We're going to end up leading well over 200 laps in this race, even with the pit strategy that we pulled. Pit strategy just kind of gave us more of a cushion. Which ultimately worked itself out because we stayed caution-free through it. I mean, that's the risk you're willing to pay, but I was willing to make that risk because we hadn't had a caution the whole race up until pitting early that first time about 100 laps ago from where we're at right now. I think it was 237, 238, somewhere around there, 238 came in for that second to last stop. Less than 30 to go. 28 laps left. David Gill into 5th. What a run. Now Schrader's dropping. He's in 7th now. Kenseth's still 11th. He hasn't gained or lost any spots since leaving pit road. Oh, give me room, Jeff. Golly. That kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Later, I got up off the corner. All right. Jarrett's going to check up quite a bit here in 3 and 4. I'm ready for it. He moved up a little bit. Not as much as Jeff did, but he moved up. I saw that. Drive out of your windshield, not your mirror. You buffoon. He acts like he's not a former champion. He should know that. Casey Kane hasn't won a championship, but he's driving smarter than Dale Jarrett. I don't know if I'm quite going to get to 300 laps led. But we've definitely dominated. Punk's out first on Raw. Yeah, I'm going to miss that. This thing ain't going to get done soon enough. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Up to 17 on the wall scrape. Yeah, we're definitely not getting to 30. I'd almost have to try at this point to get to, to get to 30. Purposely run the high side and hope I got enough grip on these older tires. Oh boy. Fishtailed quite a bit off turn 4 that time. Get close. Got 3.6 to 3.7. Oh. No, it's not Kill Switch Engage anymore. It's Cult of Personality from Living Colored. Yeah, he hasn't had that Kill Switch Engage entrance since he was... Gosh, that was still back in the late 2000s, I think, when he had that. $18, by the way. Stripe counter. We got 20 laps left. Don't hit it too hard and you'll crash. Yeah. I haven't hit it very hard. I've just kind of scraped it like every single time I've hit it. Which is the idea, you know, it's a given that's going to happen here. 18 times, that's not bad. Running a full 500 miles on a video game on this racetrack. I've definitely had more before, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, Rock was there Saturday. Big stuff. John Cena turning bad guy. With The Rock. Yeah, that was when he started. He had that entrance for a few years. As a song, I prefer that one just because that's more my speed, but I like them both. They fit his character well. They're two good songs. Bring back Stone Cold. Unfortunately, I don't think his neck is going to allow that. He had to retire a lot earlier. Rock never really sustained any severe injuries like that through his wrestling career, so it's lucky. He wasn't around as much as Stone Cold, though, either, as far as how long he was in wrestling for. He really wasn't there all that long. Think about it. I think he was only there for like 7 or 8 years full time, and then he went to Hollywood. Then he would kind of just come and go every few years for like WrestleMania season. And kind of like he has the last couple. Oh yeah, The Rock was a true heel. He was before Stone Cold. Then they did a turn at WrestleMania 17. That's when Stone Cold was the bad guy. When The Rock first went to Hollywood and he came back, he was Hollywood Rock, which was basically like I'm in Hollywood, I'm better than you kind of character. That was funny. He was so hilarious on the mic during that era. That's my favorite era of The Rock. It's Hollywood Rock. He'd be just roasting people. He was so comedic during that time. I mean, he was always kind of funny on the mic, but like at that time, it was just, he was unhinged. Nothing was off limits. And nobody was off limits. People still loved him, though, so it wasn't like, that was just like Stone Cold. Like, people still cheered him, even though he was a bad guy. It's just the way the fans are. Like, how could you not like those two? Power slide off turn 4. Dozen laps left. The Southern 500 at Darlington, inching our way closer to a victory for Kasey Kahne in this race. And go back-to-back for the first time this season. Minimal cars on the lead lap. Still 3.7 second lead. It's at about 4 seconds a few laps ago, so we're starting to give up a little bit of time. We're just basically, at this point, hoping we don't get a caution. Because then we're going to have to really fight it out to the finish. But there's very few cars in the lead lap, so you would say, well, if you catch a caution, you should probably just pit. The problem is, I try to make it more difficult on myself. Giving us limited sets of tires. We're on our final set right now, so I cannot do that. We'll have to tough this out to the finish if we were to get a restart. It's very easy to slide the tires on a restart in this game. The earlier EA games, I don't really remember doing that much, or anywhere near as often as I've done on this game when I restarted old tires, because we have had a lot of late race yellows across all 3 series in this game. We get a lot of cautions in the final 20 laps. I've spun my tires several times and lost some spots. I just feel like I'm on the gas and I'm trying to get going and it just won't go, but I can feel the car wiggling and I'm having to fight to keep it straight. I can definitely see that now as we're under 10 to go. And Trish Stratus was actually just wrestling this weekend, too. Believe it or not. If you don't really follow wrestling much anymore. I think it was her last match, but at the same time, it kind of didn't feel like it. They were in her hometown of Toronto. The build-up for it made me think that, I'm like, yeah, I think this is going to be her last match, but then after the match, I was kind of expecting her to like just kind of talk on the mic and thank everybody, and like that never happened. So I'm like, well, maybe it's not the last one. Did she age well, Keegan? Honestly, she did. She does not look her age. I think when I was at my wrestling buddy's house this weekend, we were talking about it because he said that he thought that she was 50. I'm like, I don't know if she's 50. She was pretty young when she like started, and we got to the bottom of it. She's 49. I'd almost say, like, athletically, it seems like she's in better shape now than what she was before. But no, she's aged well. To answer your question, she doesn't look like she's almost 50. I'd say she looks more like closer to 40, kind of like late 30s, 40. I feel like late 30s might be a little generous. If I'm being like completely 100% honest, she looks like she's 40. She doesn't look like she's about to be 50. A lot of those guys and gals age so well, though. I mean, that's what happens when you keep yourself in good physical health. You know, for all those years, it rewards you later in life. Not just for how your body feels, but, you know, and how well you're able to move joint-wise and joint manipulation-wise, but you look healthier, too. Rock has, yeah, another one. Yeah, a lot of them. It works. Four to go. Around this 1.1 egg-shaped oval. Darlington, South Carolina. Yeah, but he's in pretty good shape too, though. I mean, like you kind of have to be in those action movies. Doesn't he do some of his own stunts? I'm not a big movie person, so I know he's in the John Wick movies, but I don't know, like, in-depth, behind-the-scenes detail of a lot of it. No, he's not, like, ripped, but he's still in good shape. You don't have to be jacked to, you know, be in good health, good shape. Just got to move around more. Yep, Catherine Legg going to make her debut. That was mentioned earlier on the stream. I can't remember who mentioned it. But somebody did mention that earlier. Still a little wiggly. White flag in the air. This is going to be our first caution-free race because there's no cautions on the final lap. On these old EA games, we gave up a little bit of time, but not much. Actually, a little less than a second. Wasn't as much of a split in the tire wear difference this run than what we had in the last run. Dominating win for Kasey Kahne in the Southern 500. Another big slide off turn 4, but we're plenty good. Managed the fuel and the pit strategy perfectly in this one. And only 4 cars going to finish on the lead lap in this race. Let's go. What a win. Big time win for old Kasey Kahne. 272 laps. I didn't think we were going to quite get to 300. A pit strategy, pitting a little earlier there those couple times. Well, even still, even if we didn't do that, we would have probably lost the lead cycling out like we were before that. So, yeah, I don't think we were going to end up leading 300, but for starting last, we led quite a bit. Quite a bit. Jimmy Johnson led 68 laps from the pole, finished second. He had a great race, too. Jeff Gordon third, John Wood fourth. Again, he was the last car to finish on the lead lap, and even he led 4 laps, though, mostly during green flag stops. Clint Boyer ends up in 5th, first car 1 lap down. Martin Truex Jr. 6th, Matt Kenseth 7th, David Gillen 8th, Kenny Schrader 9th, and Kyle Busch rounds out the top 10. Schrader led for 17 laps at one point early in the race also. Our teammates Elliott Sadler 25th, 2 laps down. And then Scott Riggs blew a motor and finished in 40th. In total, we had 5 DNFs. Jamie McMurray, Scott Riggs, Ricky Rudd, Kurt Busch, and one Pablo Montoya back on lap 14 3.3 second margin to victory, 164.13 mile per hour average race speed, 14 lead changes, 3 hours, 3 minutes, 15 seconds. That's got to be a record for the fastest Southern 500. I mean, it was a long race. It felt long because it went caution-free, but because it went caution-free, the race pace was so fast. There's Casey Kane in victory lane yet again. 272. Next race is going to be even longer. The Coke 600. Oh boy, good old mid to late, well, 2000s NASCAR. They had a lot of long races back in the day. Well, I mean, those two race lengths still stay the same, but they're not back-to-back on the schedule anymore like they were. Look at that points lead, 467. We're going to end up clinching the #1 seed the rate we're going at way early. When Pablo Montoya, drops from 3rd to 5th in points with his DNF. Sadler's still up there in 8th after finishing 25th. Mike Wallace has got the last spot right now in the chase. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kenny Schrader moved up too. Wasn't he 12th? Man. Well, he might have been 10th. He moved up. Points are obviously tight. I mean, look at how tight they are from Jeff Gordon in 3rd to even Dale Jarrett in 9th. I mean, look at that. Gordon's not safe. He's barely over 100 points to the good. You have less than a full race worth of points between 3rd and the first guy out in 13th, which is Sterling Marlin, and the equipment he's in at MB2. That's insane. Yeah. Johnson and Casey Kane are like the only safe ones. And even Johnson's not safe. He has 1 DNF. He's, right where Gordon's at. So we're safe. We should be fine. We're dominating the season. We haven't finished outside the top 10 yet, so that streak stays alive. I forgot to mention that all race, but it wasn't really in jeopardy the way things were going and the lack of cars on the lead lap. Our average finish is going to sink below a 3.0. We're putting up some video game numbers this season, let me tell you. Let's see here. Leading the laps that we ended up leading tonight. Calculate that real quick. We're at 1,398 laps led through the first 11 races. 6 wins, 9 top 5s, and 11 top 10s. 11 for 11. Can we make it the whole season without finishing outside the top 10? I don't think so, but we did finish 10th at Atlanta, so it's going to be tough. The 1.5 mile tracks are definitely where we're lacking. I think we were 4th at Texas. We just don't seem to have race-winning speed when we get to those 1.5 miles. California, we finished 6th, so yeah, the intermediates, 1.5 miles and bigger are tough. So we go to Charlotte. It's going to be a gutted-out kind of race to try to win, but try to keep the top 10 streak alive. 600 stream is probably going to be next week at some point. It's going to have to be on a day I don't work, and I've been working overtime lately, so I don't think, well, I definitely know we're not going to do a cup race again the rest of the week. We'll be live again the next 2 nights for NASCAR 08. We'll take Thursday off and then back Friday before the live commentary schedule for Phoenix this weekend for the Xfinity and Cup Series action Saturday and Sunday. So 6 p.m. tomorrow, truck race. Road course, fantasy track, the old Spice Speedway, Boulder Raceway Park is what it's named on this game. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching tonight, everybody.